So, do ghosts exist? Is there any evidence to prove there is an afterlife? Well, joining me now is June Eleni Lane, she's a medium who says she has a link to those who've passed on. Thank you very much indeed for coming in, June. First of all, are you surprised by those figures that 1 in 3 people now do really believe in ghosts?
No, I'm not really surprised, to be honest, because I think if you hear about something for long enough and so many different people have experience of it, you just have to wonder, don't you, is it for real? And because so many people today, I mean, even coming into your building today, you know, the ladies on reception have had experiences of seeing ghosts from a child. Mostly it starts when people are very, very young and before they get brainwashed out of being able to see it, I believe.
What are ghosts?
Well, the way that we understand ghosts, I feel, is when we die, our consciousness moves into a different dimension. But it doesn't no longer exist. How could it no longer exist, you know? The energy is transformed, but it goes somewhere. So it goes somewhere that's beyond this physical dimension, beyond the 5 senses. Doesn't mean that it's disappeared for good, and it doesn't mean that it can still not connect with us. So I believe that we can all perceive ghosts. It's just that the logical side of our mind blocks them out. And when we're children, we're much more open to see things because we're still trying to make a map of what the world is. You know, we're very open. We think, is that real or is that not real? And of course it happened to me when I was 4.
Is that the first time you saw a ghost?
The first time, yes, and I didn't even know it was a ghost, to be honest. You know, a very young child sitting in a classroom looking at my teacher. She thinks she's got my attention because I'm looking right at her, but really I'm looking past her out of the window. And my school, as many schools were in those days, was an old chapel that was converted into a school. And this particular window looked out onto a graveyard. Ooh. So I was actually looking at the graveyard, but I was switched off. My logical left brain was switched off. So I was happy in my dream world. You know, we all go there, don't we? You must go there. Artists go there a lot. Musicians, singers, dancers go into that intuitive space. And when we're in that intuitive space, time flies, there are no obstacles, we feel like Superman.
Get to it, what did it look like?
Okay, what it looked like was just something moving around, okay, something moving around in the graveyard. And I was alarmed as a child, and I said, look, what's that? Something's in the graveyard. And I knew it was all fenced off, logically, so how could that be that somebody was in there? The class looked, the teacher turned to look, they couldn't see anything. And then as I looked, it just disappeared in front of my eyes. And I was very happy to say, oh, I must have misunderstood or I must have been mistaken.
How do you know it wasn't a duck walking past? Or
well,
something
until
like that,
6 years later, about 6 years later, I was looking at a book and I saw the traditional picture of a ghost, a hooded figure that everyone says, oh, this is a ghost. And I looked at it and I thought, you know what, I recognise that from when I was 4. I really don't think that I misunderstood. I don't think it was my imagination. I really think it was a ghost.
Okay, we all remember the film Sixth Sense, I see dead people. Obviously, you're a medium, you think you see dead people, but the sceptics would say we need to believe in an afterlife in order to help us understand death. And ghosts are just one facet of that. Your answer to that is?
Okay. You know, as far as I'm concerned as medium, I don't even know how it works for me. I actually sketch. I'm a psychic artist and I connect with people's relatives and I sketch pictures of them. And, you know, I don't know how it works. All I know is that as I tune in and I sketch, I feel a presence, I perceive a presence. I don't perceive it with any of my 5 senses. It goes beyond that. And then I start to draw. And amazingly enough, from a scribble and within a very short period of time, a face begins to emerge from the page. And people say, yeah, I recognise that, I know who that is, I can show you a photo. And then lots of information comes through from a very perceptive level. Sometimes I get names, sometimes I just get memories. Well, when we start to look at psychic ability and we start to look at where it comes from, which is our intuitive right brain side, we start to think that, well, why can't they give us names, addresses, telephone numbers? But the right brain doesn't work like that. There's been scientific proof to say that it works in concepts, it works in flavours, it works in ideas.
Well, June, it's fascinating stuff, but we've run out of time. We could talk to you all afternoon. June Eleni Lane.